All these things you've been doing are the very things that are going to make you unique and special. Don't think you have to come out and restart all over again. You got to go back and start from scratch where some entry-level person has started because you haven't been in the workforce for 10 years. That's the opposite. Leverage everything you have like a stairwell. Unbox that stuff and pull out the creativity. Start looking at actual things you did that nobody else has done. What did you deal with over that time? How did you leverage it? How did you manage all these activities and all these things in your family? What other volunteer roles have you been doing? Because I know you've been doing them. I know you've been doing things that are reciprocated in the workforce. And leverage it. Leverage it to own it. Own the experiences. I love someone that's waited tables. I love someone that's had experiences in blue-collar jobs. Like, are you kidding me? This is stuff that's reciprocated in everything. You can replicate this experience in every single thing you do, and when you remember that, you're unstoppable. Literally unstoppable. Do you find yourself discounting your experiences? When you go in for a new career or a new role or an opportunity, do you find that you're kind of undervaluing yourself? I see it all the time. I can tell you, living in Hampton Roads, we meet with military individuals all the time who have 20, 25 years in the military as leaders, as unbelievable, successful people that have done amazing things. And it's like when they get out, they forget all the unbelievable things they did, and they've got to kind of be like, oh, well, I'm looking to get this, and I'm going to go get my MBA in this because I need to get some business experience. And it's like they have to learn everything all over again. I've never been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of the working mother who took a couple years off to be with her children, doesn't come out and have zero experience during the 11 years she took off to raise her children. She has immense experience. Was she the leader of the PTA? Did she run teams? Was she involved in all the day-to-day activities of her children? Was she running a schedule for the family? I don't know. Husbands are doing these things today too. This isn't a gender role thing. It's just you see it all the time, and they come in and they sit in my office right here and we talk about it, and I see them undervaluing themselves and their experiences all the time. And I love this because I get to build up their unique ability. I get to really focus on the things that make them who they are and their past experiences that they can leverage. It's almost like there's an unboxing, right? You get an Amazon box at home and you open it up and it's filled with 5 things you forgot you ordered. And you open it up and you're like, oh, wow, I got my vitamins. I can't wait to read this book. I really needed this massager. This Theragun's unbelievable. Like whatever it may be, right? You open this box. It's Pandora's box. It just keeps opening. That's your life experiences. You know, that's all the things. Sometimes you have to unbox your own career. Unbox the very things that made you who you are and the things that you did. I've had clients that have served 30 years in IT for major companies and they restarted in a reshuffling during the last year or so. I've had clients that were in retail for 30 plus years. Their knowledge is unbelievable and it replicates in so many different markets and so many different models. But they need to unbox it. They need to peel back the orange and see all the things that are underneath of that. And sometimes it just takes good friends, good family. It takes entrepreneurs and business leaders to see that in them. Let me tell you what, 20 years of experience is 20 years of experience. How does it reciprocate into the workforce? I was doing a podcast on Clubhouse the other day and a conversation with several friends and some associates that are former military leaders, Navy SEALs, Marine snipers, people that have way cooler jobs than I've ever had, right? And we're talking about leadership. And we had a young lady that came on who's been a mom for the last 15 years, and she shared a story. And I kind of went through this conversation with her. I was like, hey, look, all these things you've been doing are the very things that are going to make you unique and special. Don't think you have to come out and restart all over again. You got to go back and start from scratch where some entry-level person has started because you haven't been in the workforce for 10 years. That's the opposite. Leverage everything you have like a stairwell. Unbox that stuff and pull out the creativity. Start looking at actual things you did that nobody else has done. What did you deal with over that time? How did you leverage it? How'd you manage all these activities and all these things in your family? What other volunteer roles have you been doing? Because I know you've been doing them. I know you've been doing things that are reciprocated in the workforce. And leverage it. Leverage it to own it. Own the experiences. Unbox them. Be creative. These are the things we started talking about. And she was like, I know all this stuff. It's just nice to hear a reminder. And we had a really good conversation as we talked through this. But the military experience, the mom experience, the dad experience, these are all things that replicate into the world. They're the very things that I need. It's peripheral, right? It's not just laser or linear. This is a really key thing. I love linear people. I love kids that get out and they got their MBA from the best university and they are dialed in and they're going to go in this career path and they're going to just robotically hit every single layer and they're going to get to senior executive level and they were meant for that. Like that's their path, right? Peripheral is really nice too. I love peripheral leaders. I love leaders that started there, then took some different career choices, that gained experience in levels and markets that they never had before, that they leverage and utilize today to deal with clients in a different capacity. I love it. I love someone that's waited tables. I love someone that's had experiences in blue-collar jobs. Like, are you kidding me? This is stuff that's reciprocated in everything. You can replicate this experience in every single thing you do. And when you remember that, you're unstoppable. Literally unstoppable. All of these things are experiences that make you who you are. And nobody has that story. Nobody. And so as we interview people, I always ask questions. One of the questions I love to ask is, our tagline is life and wealth optimization at Freedom Street Partners. But life and wealth. Life comes first for a reason. So we always spend time, wealth is kind of career and all these things. We always tend to spend a lot of time on the career. Tell me about your experiences. What are the things that really made you who you are? Tell me a time you failed. All the interview questions that you've heard 1,000 times, right? I always say, tell me about life. What's important to you? What are the things that are most important to you? Just the other day, we're interviewing someone who told us they were an Olympic athlete. When I asked them about life, guess what? The work ethic it takes to be an Olympic athlete is a pretty important thing. It's a pretty important fact that had nothing to do with the rest of the interview, right? But if I didn't ask life questions, I wouldn't know work questions. I wouldn't know the very things that make those humans the best at being themselves and potentially the best at being in a role that we may or may not be looking for. So when you're talking about these things, a couple of lessons to just remember. Number one, past experiences are great value adds to the future. Unbox it like the Amazon box you forgot. The Pandora's box of great things that you've had. Be creative. Find all the things you've done and own them. Own them in the interview. Own them in the next chapter. Own them when you move into the next job. But own them because that is your value proposition to the world. It's your story and only you own it. I'm Scott Danner. Tell me how you've done this. Tell me how you've done this for yourself. Or maybe you haven't. Have you struggled with this? I'd love to learn a little bit more. Thanks for joining me.